Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start now.
Okay, great.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Sweet.
Dumbbells.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hang for a little bit.
Okay.
Ugh.
Boy. I do think a good first topic is working out with intention. Because I do think, and I mean this with all the love and respect to all of our clients, I am smiling at you, that sometimes people want a really perfect workout plan or think that that's what needs to be perfect. But we were talking about the other day that there's no workout plan that's perfect at all.
Yeah.
And you could do a really shitty workout plan and just execute it really well and make really good progress. And you can have a really good, like technically sound workout plan and execute it poorly, no intention, lackadaisical, and be like, this plan sucks, I don't make any progress from it.
Yeah.
And I think it's sometimes a hard conversation to have with people who are just entering the gym. Like, it's not that you're not making progress because of the workout, it's because you're not pushing yourself very hard.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's just a difficult conversation to have. And I'm curious about your opinion on how you would handle that with athletes. I'm sure do it too, but general population as well. What you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, I always say I made the fastest rate of progress was when I was first starting. And a big part of that had to be with like the whole newbie gains that, you know, people experience, but also because I just went in there with a lot of intent. And I was starting off, right? This was when I was a teenager. I'm starting off, first time in the gym, working out. And I was making up my own workouts.
Yeah.
I was just going on a whim. And
just whatever you wanted to do.
I put on so much muscle to start off. And it was crazy. And it was just because I went in there with intent, right?
Yeah.
I purposely wanted to get bigger because at that time I weighed 90 pounds. Like seriously, I weighed 90 pounds. So I wanted to get bigger and I went there with intent. I really pushed like the intensity and it was a crap program. Like if you were to look at it, like what I was doing, it was like, this is actual shit. But yeah, I got results because the intent was there. And I think we see that, you mentioned like with clients, definitely see that because people are coming in after work, for example, or early in the morning, earlier than they want to.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I just got to get this done. The biggest part of it is just showing up. And it's like, yeah, it's a big part of it. But another big part of it is...
Yeah, you got to send it.
Send it, right? And with athletes, it's like, well, you know, the biggest priority is sport practice, whatever your sport is. And then strength and conditioning is kind of like an afterthought, or it's just a smaller piece of the puzzle, which is true. It's not the end all be all for an athlete. You can still be an elite athlete without strength training. Yeah. But to get that extra bit to bring you to even a higher level, you're going to need to master that. But I think it's more of a psychological thing that people, you know, go through where it's like, with clients, I think it's like they don't want to do it because it's late after work, before work. It's hard. They just need to show up. And then with athletes, it's like, well, it's not the biggest piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, so they kind of take it for granted.
Exactly.
And they're like, well, this isn't my sport, so
I
don't know why I need to work so hard for this.
Exactly.
When it's like, yeah, it isn't part of your sport. That is true, but you still want to, like the thing, we're not in the weight room just to have fun because you're playing a sport. Like, we're in here to help the progress on the field, to like hopefully reduce the risk of injury, to like make you more resilient, to make you run a little bit faster, to make you jump a little bit higher. But I think some people just really don't see that, and they're like, well, maybe it's like I barely like playing my sport. Yeah. I don't want to do this either. And I'm sure for clients it's similar, where it's like, I'm partially doing this because I know I need to. My doctor told me, or this person told me. But so like if that's the way you come in, and then you're like, well, I'm not making progress, and it's like, yeah, I understand. But you know, we have stuck with a 10-pound bench press for a few months. So maybe we start to pick this up a little bit. And so I don't know, maybe with the Gen Pop it's like a lot of fear too. Like people are just scared of, grab a weight.
Yeah, I'll grab this guy.
People are, I don't know if it's scared. I don't know, it's tough. And I say this with all love and admiration for all my Gen Pop clients, because I think especially if you're not someone who works out with us at Block, at the gym we both work at, is almost exclusively general population. So, and I think sometimes it's hard in person to look at someone and be like, hey, I don't think you are pushing yourself hard enough.
Yeah.
Because that can be, you can say it right, but even then, like, it's a little bit abrasive. Yeah. For someone, to be like, well, I'm not making gains because of this. And it's like, well, you aren't making gains because you're just not trying hard enough, which is like the brass tacks of what's happening. And it's a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, because no matter how you say it, I think at some point, even nicely, you're being like, hey, you're kind of sandbagging this. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not. I show up. And it's like, no, I love that. You show up. I just need some more from you. Yeah. So. And I think people always want to be known as like a hard worker. So if you're telling someone you're not, that's a huge blow. Like if someone were to tell me like, yeah, you don't work as hard, I'd probably go to sleep crying. Like I'd cry myself to sleep for sure. So it's a hard conversation as a coach to have, and it's a hard thing to hear as a client, athlete, or whatever you are. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. If you're not seeing results, or if you're sticking with the same weight and you're not seeing any progress, there's no intent. Yeah, it's definitely a very difficult conversation to have. And some people take it pretty well. And you're like, hey, like, let's be honest about what we're doing here. And let's see if we can't, next time come up with a little more, even if you don't have the pep in your step, like, let's do less for more. And I also think, hold up, I'm going to try to make my shoulders not function anymore. Ooh. For anyone wondering what we're doing, we'll post it in the description. Oh my God. There we go. Day is doing some pull stuff and some leg stuff maybe? Yeah, maybe like hamstring curls. Like what are you doing? You're doing pull-ups, bent over rows. Yep, pull-ups, chest-supported rows, on the bench. Bicep curls. Always. Because yes. Yeah, they have to be in there. And GHD Nordic curls. Hamstring curls, okay. Yep. And I'm doing, this is gonna sound so stupid, 7 sets. Beautiful. Of shoulders because, well, I am running and I really just prefer lifting heavy, and I almost do no biceps in any of my work. Yeah. I just have never really cared. My shoulders are the weakest and smallest part of me. So, any of you are watching and you have a muscle group that you feel is lacking, especially like a smaller muscle group, your biceps, calves calves probably too, especially if you're not trying to perform. But like triceps, biceps, forearms, shoulders. And if you want to just like put some extra work into those outside of your workouts at block or outside of your workouts by yourself, just add them in at the beginning of whatever workout, because like your lateral delts, your rear delts, your biceps can take an aggressive amount of work. Yeah. And you will not have any like central nervous system fatigue from doing shoulders 5 days a week. Right. Your shoulders might get cranky a little bit, but yeah. I mean, even to the intention thing, like the entire intent of this workout today is to bring up my smaller muscle groups. Yeah. Which is like, I could probably handle maybe 12 sets of shoulders, and that depends on my cranky shoulder. But I'm just going to hammer my shoulders until they stop functioning. Yeah. And then tomorrow maybe I'm a little sore, but then the next day you're good. Hammer them again. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. The intent with mine is I actually do, the accessories I do on my main workout days are more focused on my weaknesses, because usually on those days I feel super focused. So like if I'm squatting and I have my, like one of my lagging areas is quads, I'll do like something that involves heavy quads where like I'm sending it both on the squat and let's say heavy lunges, right? So those are like my send days, and then my accessory days is kind of like just have fun type day. So it's like things I really like that I'm good at, which in turn makes me really like them. Oh, interesting. Pull-ups, pulls, things, so it's kind of like, and then biceps, because biceps are fun. Yeah. So it's kind of like opposite of yours, but hey, like it works either way. Yeah, I see, and that's a good point. Like my shoulders will come up that way. She does it the opposite to us, like almost a motivator. But yeah, I think intent is more perfect than any program you buy or workout you want to do. Like if you just do it hard, you'll just adapt to it, and then
Yeah.
it gets better. You get stronger, and then you have nicer shoulders. And like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want that? You know.
It's seriously like one of the best
Apparently
things you
me
can
for
have.
the last like 6 years, but whatever. No time like today. I gotta do 15.
You're doing 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, fuck me. Oh, God.
How fast are you progressing on those lateral raises?
Like in weight
Yeah.
or in reps or both?
Well, however you're, progressing it.
I mean, I was watching a video of Jay Cutler.
I met him one time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I did a bodybuilding show in 2017.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
I didn't know
it was
that.
the Cutler Classic.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He's like one of the first people, him and Ronnie Coleman are like the first people I really saw in that world. But he had a video recently, or maybe it's an older video, where someone was asking about like how he programs his reps.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He would just go in, like, I get this, actually this is perfect to the intensity conversation.
Yeah.
He would just go in and pick a weight and push it really hard. And he never really, I'm pretty sure it's him. I don't think Dorian Yates did this. I think it was Jay Cutler, but he would just send it hard, which is like the intensity thing. And then like the closer you get to failure on a muscle, the better stimulus you get.
Yeah.
So he would just do like sets to close to failure and just like pick a weight. He'd be like, I know where I'm at, so I'll just do this and then go until I can't. So when I do lateral delt raises, I would do like 12 or 15 reps or 12 to 20 reps between like 15 and 25 pounds.
Okay.
And that's normally where I stay.
Yeah.
But I kind of just, like I'll warm up with the 15s, I grab the 20s, and then I kind of do like that myo rep match thing.
Okay.
Where the first one to failure kind of sets the bar, and then each set after that, I'll do however many I can straight, and then as many rest pauses to get back to 15. So every time I do 15 at whatever weight I'm at.
Yeah.
But the first one is like, my shoulders are going to fall off, and then it's like, well, like this next set I'll probably get to like 8, maybe, and then it's like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just like rest pause. So I kind of just push that until I can't feel my arms anymore.
Yeah.
And I figure it's not like my squat or my deadlift or my bench press where it's like I'm trying to like push a number up.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to grow muscle. So in my head, I don't know, it's like sometimes in me telling you I don't like to track what I do, it's just all off vibes. My accessory muscles is purely off vibes.
Off vibes.
Just vibes only.
I like that. Yeah.
Like today coming into this workout, I was like, I'm doing accessories, which is like biceps, triceps, shoulders, as bro-y as I could make it.
Yes.
But shoulders first. And I decided on 7 sets to start and then to see where I go from there.
Roll a dice, like, all right, it's going to be 6, and then the other dice is 1.
Yeah, and that was like my entire train of thought behind this plan. Was just like, let's see how much I can just fully send it and then go for it.
It's amazing.
How do you progress your pull-ups?
My pull-ups?
Yeah. Do you have like a progression you're following?
Kind of, not really. I think I mentioned this to you last week. I think it was you. How I switch it up every week with pull-ups, just because like I'm like compared to the average female, I'm good at pull-ups. So I would say I'm above average. I'm not as good as like, people who are stronger or gymnasts, people who are very skilled in this stuff. But for the average female, I'm pretty good at pull-ups. So like I don't feel a need to really progress as much because I've kind of hit a limit in a way. I don't think I've reached my genetic limit, but I feel like I'm pretty close to being there. So right now it's just a lot of like play.
Yeah,
it's
just
like,
having fun.
Yeah, so like last week I was doing sets with 10 pounds and it was a little bit more controlled. Today I'm doing, I think it's 18 pounds as this kettlebell. 18, doing the same sets and reps actually, but definitely a lot harder, not controlling the eccentric as much.
Yeah.
Some days I'll do mixed grip. I'll switch up the grip. Sometimes I'm doing speed and just going really fast.
Yeah.
Some days I'm going volume, body weight. Some days I'm using the rock climbing grips with just like the fingertips. So it's really just changing week to week.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm trying to progress it every time. So it's like, I know I did, let's say I do the rock climbing grips. Last time I accumulated 30 reps.
Yeah.
And I was doing it sets of 3. I did rested 10 seconds and a set of 2. And then I would rest for like a minute to 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then do 3, 2, 3, 2. So five reps per set.
Okay.
And then, you know, next time I do it, I'll probably go for 32 to 35 reps or
okay.
some shit like
So do you
that.
write this down though? Do you track it?
I do, yeah. I do track it.
So you keep in your head, you run inside, slam it into your spreadsheet.
I put it in I always have my phone on me.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
I'll have a phone.
Have it on there.
Yeah. So I could always look at that history.
Yeah, I'm trying to track all my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's definitely interesting because then next week, I know you know this, but I can see what I did the week before
Yes, it's a beautiful thing.
and make it easier to progress.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes it sucks when you switch focus on things, like your goals change, and then you're looking back to like 2 years ago when my focus was strength, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I was benching like 190 pounds.
Yeah.
I would do 135 for like 10 to 15 reps. Like it was easy.
Yeah.
I was doing 135 the other day and I was like struggling getting to like 6 to 7 reps,
no.
which is like,
Yeah.
I've never been at that point, right? And I was like, and so when I was doing it, I like grabbed my phone and I was like, oh my God.
I must go see.
Like, yeah. And so I like scrolled back to like 2 years ago and I was like, you know, it's kind of like a kick in the, like, I don't know, it's like a stab in the heart. I felt
Yeah.
like so like shitty, but then I'm like, oh, but 2 years ago I wasn't able to run 10 miles on a whim with a average heart rate of 150 and
Oh, yeah.
all that. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll take that win.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what
for
I've been
sure.
working towards.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. I was actually messaging a client last night or yesterday about this because she was struggling just with like performance and like a lot of other life stuff. Just feeling like she's kind of stagnating and frustrated and all this stuff. And I draw this thing all the time, especially when I'm doing an assessment and people are talking about pain or anything where you have to make like forward progress. And I think people forget that like if you're looking at like an XY curve, that it's just like a straight line up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like up and down, and that you're charting positive.
Yeah.
But I have this like theory in my head that people like they start to come up, they dip down, and that first dip down is like a pain point.
Yeah.
Right? And then they go up farther and they dip down. But these pain points never feel less.
Yeah.
You know, they always feel like crap.
Yeah.
So like you've made a lot of progress, but you have another dip, which is normal. Except when you started, the first dip is so expected that you're like, well, duh, I'm gonna have a dip. But when you're 2, 3, 4, 5 years into working out and you get a dip and you look back at your thing and you're like, oh my God, I suck just like when I started this.
Yeah.
And then like someone has to be like, yo, you have to look at the other shit you've done in life.
Yeah.
Like for her, I was like, look at all these things you've accomplished. Look at what you've done. Look how long you've been consistent at this. Like, I think, and maybe like for that client too, and I've said this to other people, like sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to put all of our like different things we can do in life, we're trying to push them all up at once.
Yeah.
And then we freak out. We're like, my world's burning.
Right.
I can't do this. And it's like, yeah, but maybe you feel more successful if like we toned it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And like you took some stress off, just away, and then all of a sudden the other things perform again.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's good to be able to like look back, and maybe, I mean, that's a good thing for like data. I think
Yeah.
I have that data in my head.
Yeah.
Kind of, especially like my weights. But it's a good thing to be able to look back and be like, I did it yesterday running. I was like, this feels so hard. But I went like 3.2 miles, which is the farthest I've ever run in one. I didn't run the whole thing, but my average heart rate was like 20 less than the first time I did a 5K. So it's like, or 25 less. So I was like, oh, I am making progress. It's just hard to see because you go to run, it's hard as shit still. And you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. And then I think with me, it's like I always think of like my first initial goals, which is like for the first years of training for like 8 years, I was focused just on strength. So it's like when I see that dip, I'm like, No.
Yeah.
Like, no, I like can't let it go. But it's like, dude, like your training now is so different. Like strength is always going to be a priority, but you've added other things to the plate where it's like, you're not going to progress in that like you did before.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. I already feel it right now with adding running. Oh my God, I got 3 more.
Yeah. And now that you just started adding running, like just recently, you're going to see like a dip in your strength pretty big from that initial like adaptation and initial like fatigue, where it's going to be like, oh, this isn't worth it. Like all my numbers are going significantly down, but it's like, it's that initial dip that you feel when you start adding both. Like your strength is going to go down, but eventually like your body's going to get used to the load and used to that. Then it's going to come back up. And like, I feel like I've gotten to that point where it's like, okay, I've gotten back up where it's like, I could still, my bench is down, right? But I'm still able to do it 135 for 7 reps or so, and probably more on a fresh set.
Yeah.
And I'm still able to squat pretty heavy and all that. So it's like, it's coming back up where before initially when I first started running and doing it, it was like such a big dip. I'm like, oh man, like this isn't worth it.
Yeah, it's tough at first.
Yeah, for some reason I stuck it out. I truly don't know why, but I'm glad I did because then I was able to see the upside.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique challenge doing the. And I'm hesitant to say hybrid training myself right now because while that may be the cool idea I'm trying or going for in theory.
Yeah.
Well, I guess anyone when they first start, like, I'm not a hybrid athlete. I'm just dabbling in this concurrent training style.
Yeah.
Because I am not doing the, like, you know, I don't know, all the hybrid athlete stuff's interesting. And I think at the conference, Alyssa Olenek, the PhD, the doctor, she gave a talk on it and it was really funny. But the way she explained it, I think is the best way to explain like this hybrid stuff. Or sometimes in my head, I think just being like a good athlete. Yeah. Like I think CrossFit athletes, minus the like CrossFit workouts that I think got kind of bad at some point, or bad for you, or like too high intensity with no like variability in like tempo or form or anything. It was just like, see how far you can rip it. Yeah. I mean, like watching Matt Frazier and Rich Froning and like, it's impressive. All the ladies, like it's crazy how in shape you are. Yeah. Like to watch you do that much cardio. And then to watch, you know, Tia Toomey walk out there and squat and snatch and clean what she was doing. Yeah. Not fresh. Like this is like.
This is on day 3. Oh my God. Event 5. You know, snatching like 200 something pounds.
And sometimes I understand the like kind of criticism of hybrid where it's like, some people have said like, you're not doing anything athletic. Yeah. You're just in really good shape. So I understand that criticism. Like there's no technical thing. It's like you took CrossFit and took the one thing in CrossFit or the 2 things in CrossFit that are really difficult. Yeah. Outside of just like volume training, which is Olympic lifting and the gymnastics stuff. Yeah. That's technically difficult. Yeah. So I get that, but in my head, if hybrid training is just like having multiple pieces of your body to be able to do things that don't overlap with each other, you know, like really good at long distance stuff, strong, then why can't I also add in Olympic lifting? Yeah. It will, you know, at some point you just can't do that many things at one time. But yeah. So that was a thought I had. Like if that's the complaint, then like just add Olympic lifts into your workout once a week. Like first week you hit clean and jerk, next week you hit snatch, or like you start your blocks out with a technical and then you do your strength stuff. Yeah. You run on the other days, your strength volume comes down. So I don't know.
No, I agree. I think like with CrossFit, one of the biggest things I like initially liked about it was I liked how focused it was on fitness and I wanted to get super fit. Yeah. And I love volume, and I think I've mentioned that to you. Like I just love volume, so I was like, CrossFit is amazing. But then what I hated about CrossFit was all the skill stuff. Because like I know I can compete at a high level. Like I know it. If I didn't have to do all these like crazy gymnastics or skill stuff, like I have an engine and I could last in a workout forever and I could come out first or in the top, but what's stopping me is the skill stuff, and it would be so frustrating because I'm not athletic and I have no coordination, so that took me out. I mean, there's other reasons, right? I'm not saying I was like amazing, but I'm saying that was definitely my biggest weakness. So when like this hybrid term came up, I know a lot of people like complain about it.
Yeah.
You know, and they,
Yeah.
you know all the arguments, but it's like, I just like it. I like doing a lot of
Volume,
and I think it's fun. I think it's fun to be able to be really strong and run really far.
I have come to agree with that because like I wasn't against it and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like training in this style. And her point too, which was interesting, and well, I guess not even maybe it was a point she made and I'm not remembering very well, but something I kind of took from it is that like, oh yeah, good idea. Is that like it's really hard.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who critique it online that I've heard, and I, go to their profiles and they don't do any running.
Yeah.
I don't see them do any cardio on their profile, and just being like a gym bro myself, and just like I don't even like all the pump work.
Yeah.
Like all the bodybuilding and hypertrophy work kind of bores me sometimes. I know. I just like lifting heavy shit, and I like putting like a lot of effort into stuff for very short windows of time. The only endurance thing I ever did was kickboxing, but again, you'd go from like really relaxed to like I'm gonna try to kill you. Yeah. And it was just like that trade back and forth always. So it was like endurance, but it was also like super high intensity. Yeah. And I see these people, kind of trash it online, and it's like the first time, like the first week I did all my lifts and ran 3 days a week, I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. You don't want to put the work in. It's hard. Yeah. It's not easy to go from like meathead moron to like, you have to think a little more when you're running. Yeah. You have to like plan it out. Like I could, and I'm probably going to fuck around a little bit and just run however much I want to and just try to increase the volume. Yeah. But man, it is exhausting. Right. And it's not like we make this video and do this training and don't have full-time jobs. Yeah. I mean, you have 7 jobs, 4 part-time jobs.
You have 7 plus now this.
Well, we both work full-time just to get that point across. So yeah. If you ever watch Day's personal Instagram, she's normally working out before Jocko is. So, you got to find time to do it.
Yeah, and I usually text Jocko. I'm like, dude, I just finished my run. It's 4:25. Come on.
Yeah, be better, dude. Yeah. I know you were a SEAL for a long time, but I don't even know what that means. Yeah. No, but like I run at night. Like I hear people like I don't want to be outside. It's hot. Like.
Guess you got to find the time either early or late.
People want to be in shape, but they don't want to do the work to get in shape. Yeah. And I think the intention will help fix that, but it's hard. Yeah. So.
I'm gonna check the camera real quick.
Yeah. Oh, I think I have one more set.
So I may have missed the whole advice.
That's fine. Is it recording right now?
It's recording right now. It better be recording right now. It's not hot though. It's... yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You're like, that's actually not true. Oh my goodness, gravy. Oh.
Everyone missed my bicep curls.
I know.
How?
How will they recover?
Yeah.
No, I mean, as a quick recap, we were talking about advice we have for our general population people, in case it's not in the video, because Dave's phone decided to blow up. Is it working?
It is. I'm just going to move it this way.
My advice was to take pressure off yourself. Like if you miss a session or miss 2 even, I think this thing happens where like we have this thing called workout that we're trying to do and we miss one and we do this like moral thing in our brain where we're like, oh, I missed this workout, which means I don't care about myself, which means I'm a bad person. And you kind of like walk down this really negative route and you attach that bad feeling to your identity or your morals, which is just like, it's like food. Food can't be good or bad. Food is not a moral property. It's just a thing. So exercise is not a moral property. It's just a thing. So it's like, I think people do this thing where they like, don't do it. They make themselves feel like shit. And then comes Wednesday and they already feel guilty about this thing called workout. Whether or not you can differentiate in your head, it's because you missed it. Yeah. Your brain still like, it's like it attaches this negative feeling to it. And then, so I say just like, give yourself like a break. Like, it's okay. Like, you've missed workouts. You're not a bad person.
Yeah.
I've certainly missed a lot of workouts. I'm not a bad person. Like, no one's a bad person for missing workouts. Like,
yeah.
And I think anyone who tries to argue that it's just like wrong. It's like you can't argue something is a moral thing when it's not a moral thing. Like, it's something you do for you.
Yeah.
I guess you could have some weird arguments about it, but that's like some philosophical bullshit that I'm not going to get involved with. But, you know, I think it adds an amount of stress to you that, like, we're already trying to like negotiate with.
Yeah.
You know, like, you come into this my gym and it's like, I'm trying to get you to exercise to be healthy and feel better about yourself and feel like confident and like all this positive stuff. You missed a session, I message you and you're like, oh, I just, you know, it's like this big negative thing. It's like, yo, it's okay. Just come on in. Like, just come in. It's okay. Or it's like, I had a hard day and I don't feel like doing this, so I'm just going to miss it today. It's like, you can, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You could also come in. I'll modify your whole workout so we can do something fun.
Right.
And people are like, you can do that. And I think to our earlier point of like, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I could give you a 5-day week plan that I spent months on, and you come in and you're like, dude, I just want to do bicep curls today. How many can we do? And I'm like, 21 sets, go grab shit, let's go. I think 21 is like the upper limit. You're not going to move your arms for a week. And you're like, yes. Because that's like where we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, let's have fun with it, make it positive. So.
Yeah.
And then that you led into, I think I was asking you about like the stress response. Like,
yeah.
We don't want to add more stress.
Right.
We want to try to reduce it. And that, exercise is stress inducing, period.
Right. Yeah, it's a stressor to the body.
The fitness world is like, exercise is so good for you. And it's like, yes, it is good for you. But you have to look at the person in front of you and be like, hey, how much stress are you under? You want to add 5 HIIT workouts a week? Okay, cool.
You have 8 hours available in your week that are free. That's not including the time it takes to travel to places, and you want 5 hours of workouts in there. All right.
Sweet.
Okay, you'll have like 30 seconds to like shit,
Yeah.
essentially,
We
and
don't
then
need
you're
that.
good. But yeah.
That's what diapers are for.
Huh?
That's what diapers are
Exactly, yeah. Dude, if you're not wearing a diaper, you're not working hard enough. Yeah, and it's, we were saying like, the body doesn't differentiate between the type of stress. So you could, school stress, family stress, life stress, right? We all deal with budgets and work and all that. So the body just responds naturally to that. So like, and I mentioned like the experiment, the research, right?
Yeah.
That happened, that they executed. I don't know what year this research is from, but essentially they had a group of people do exercise, and then they measured their immune cell mobilization and stress hormone levels in their blood. What they realized was that both of those increased, right?
Yeah.
Normally that's what we expect is cortisol and stress hormones increase in the blood. They did the same thing with a group of people who they didn't put them through an exercise protocol, but instead they put them through I would say a mental test more, a psychological test, where they put them in an auditorium full of subject matter experts on a panel. And they were asked to essentially present on that subject of the subject matter experts. So essentially, like, imagine them putting me in a room and saying like, okay, cancer therapy. Here are all like cancer therapy experts and researchers and doctors.
Now you have to present to them
on that subject. I would literally shit my pants, throw up in front of them.
You'd be like, all right, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, folks. Let's get that started first and foremost.
Like, that's how I would start off. And what they realized was the same response was seen between the two, essentially saying like, hey, the body can't differentiate between those two stressors. The body responds the same way. So when you're putting all these stressors in your system, adding on a ton of exercise is adding on a ton of stress to the body.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic in the way where you can release mental stress and like kind of zone out and do all that. But there is that stress to the body that it does add, and you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, because too much, has got to be maladaptive at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to be negative. We're going to fry out, as I'm sure both you and I have done. You were talking about getting sick earlier, like just being run down.
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely been to the place where I've worked so much and have so much stress. Like every 2 weeks I was getting like a cold or a flu. Or every 2 or 3 months, not 2 weeks. That'd be crazy. Every 2 weeks, I have a
pretty
fucking
wild.
cold. Yeah.
But
have to go to the hospital. There you go. Go for one more.
Let's
go for one more. Go, 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 go. Yes. One more. Come on. Pull, 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 pull. There you go. Send it, send it, send it, send it, send it. Oh, no. Nice.
But, yeah, I think it's like, you know, this is like the research that Carmen and I are doing at the U of A, where we're looking at, you know, stress responses in a chronically stressed population, military, special forces. And one thing that's popular in the immunobiology world is the concept of the J curve, which is like the X and Y axis, where the X axis is how much training load you have. Yeah. The Y axis is risk of infection. Okay. Upper respiratory infection. Yeah. Upper respiratory infection. So it's a J curve where, let's say the point is here when you have low exercise. So if you're a sedentary person, your risk of infection is pretty moderate to high because you're not healthy, right? So interesting. We all know if you're not healthy, you're prone to get sick.
So it's like a Nike swoosh.
Exactly. Okay. It goes down as you do moderate exercise. So general population, this is what they should be doing, right? Recommendations of 3 times a week, about 60 minutes, mixture of strength training and conditioning. Yeah. So that significantly brings down
risk of infection. Upper respiratory infection.
And then goes up.
Shoots back up
pretty drastically. Now you're in the like high, severely high risk when you are going from moderate to excessive exercise. Yeah. That's what we see with athletes, right? Yeah. So
push too hard, they're sick all the time.
You'll see in
coughing,
season,
sneezing.
In season when their training load is crazy, you'll see like the whole swim team comes in. There's like 60 of them, and it's like half of them are either out or half of them are there, but they're coughing up a lung and they're sneezing and they have mono, whatever, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, okay, we know what's happening. And it's always like school, right? It's in October, so it's like midterm finals. Yeah. That's so funny. And training is insanely high. And half of them are going through breakups because it's that time of the year. So, you know.
You're like, whatever.
It's like.
Been there. Yeah. You're like, oh no, Becky, you're breaking up with your boyfriend. Yeah. I am so surprised. That's crazy,
no
actually.
Way.
Yeah, that's interesting. And for anyone, the bottom of this curve is how much you work out, and the top of this chart is your chance of getting sick. So like it goes. So more you work out, higher chance of sick. Well, not just work out, but total stress load.
Right.
Because it's not just working out. I think that's like the point of what you were trying to say is like, exercise causes this like response, stress response. Speaking in front of an auditorium causes a stress response. Right. Being finding out your mom has to go to a memory care facility. Right. That's a stress response. Getting your kids to 7 different sports, all 15 minutes apart, 45 minutes away, huge stressor. You know, like all this shit is like, I think people think like, I don't do that much. I work out 3 times a week. And it's like, this X axis is not working out. It's stress load, especially for Gen Pop. It's like your mom, you're sitting, you know, this and 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 this. Oh, and your kid just got kicked out of school. Yeah. I wonder why you feel like shit and you got sick all of a sudden. Yeah. It's like.
It's also knowing like what makes you stressed. So like, I hate traveling. I hate flying. Makes me nervous. As I get older, I get more nervous about it.
Why?
I think one thing is like being a aircraft maintenance officer. Oh. It's like you're taught like everything that could potentially go wrong in an aircraft. So every time I go on the aircraft, I'm like, oh my God, I hope every bolt was like the torque of every bolt was where it's supposed to according to the manual and blah blah blah. But anyway, so you know that most of the time when you're taking flights, it's never like a 30-minute hour flight. It's always like 6 hours. You're just sitting down. Yeah. That's stressful. Being at high altitudes is stressful. Making sure everything gets there on time. Your luggage and yourself is stressful. All the crowd's stressful. So that brings out like the worst side of me. So there's that. And then the fact that you're now susceptible to a lot more bacteria, germs, all that stuff, because there's way more people and you're now exposed to that. So every time I travel, without doubt, I get sick.
Yeah.
And like that's where my training, that's probably the only exception where I modify my training heavily, where like I'll really like switch it up. Cause like I again, we were talking about this earlier, like I hate missing workouts, and I probably in the past 10 years have missed like 3.
Whoa.
Right? Like,
whoa.
Like and that's a random ass number, but it's somewhere, it's a single digit number. Like I'm not missing workouts. Like but when I'm traveling, that's where like I'll modify shit crazy. Cause like there's no way in hell, like I'll get a massive migraine. I'll get sick. My resting heart rate's always like shoots up and then shoots back down. It's like, it's just crazy.
Do you think maybe the stress involved with travel that you just explained also contributes to you getting sick?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, no, I get it. I get it. I see it. For anyone who hasn't used this machine, what she's doing is gross. And if you're like, I'll go to I know that's at my local big box gym, I'll try that. Try it slowly. It puts a lot of stress on your hamstrings. Not in a bad way, it's just, most hamstring exercises are like a leg curl machine where you like sit or lay down and you're pulling on it. And the eccentric load, the lowering of it, so this part is not as loaded, where this part, your contraction on those machines is much more loaded. But this is opposite. So as she leans forward, there's a huge amount of load on her hamstring. And as she comes back, her knees come down and then the load comes off. And it feels like this, where she's like, oh, fuck, what was that? My hamstring off the bone? That's like, did you see Coach Q's most recent video talking about Nordics?
No.
Fucking bullshit.
What do you say about it?
He's just I mean, it's really informative thing, but he's talking to the camera like this with a weight on his chest while he's lowering himself to the ground. I was like, whatever, dude. Wild. Dear Lord.
Yeah.
It's just, Nordics are, I can do them. The worst is every time I have to demo them at the gym, it's always after I've done a hamstring day. So I demo them and I get like 4 inches forward. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's it. So you just keep your hips back a little bit, it should feel like this is being pulled off your body and go forward. Like, are you going to demo? I'm like, no, I'm not. It feels like 4 inches this way. My hamstrings are about to pop off of my ass.
That's at the U of A, my athletes make fun of me because like I won't demo exercises. I'll just use my fingers. So I'll be like, all right, we're going to jump. You're going to do 5 counter movement jumps. Then when you're done there, you're going to skip.
Why don't you demo? Just because you don't want to?
Yeah, most of the time I just don't want to.
I get that. Have you ever done these?
I have. I remember I used to do them when I would work out with a group a lot. And that was like an exercise we would always do.
Dane Miller at Garage Strength.
Yeah.
Have you seen his Miracle Grows? It's like a pullover tricep extension. He'll like, instead of like a long arm pullover, as he pulls over, he'll bend his elbows. And then it's like you're using your lat and your tricep to extend up. So I try to do the same thing on these where I'm like pulling into my lats and then driving down and extending. And it is like...
So it's like a... What does he call them?
He calls them Miracle Grows. So it's like a...
Like a rolling tricep?
Yeah, it's like a rolling tricep. So you're here and you kind of like bend and then like use your triceps. And I think the whole thing is like, we don't put a lot of load on the long head of our tricep. Yeah. So getting your arm to flex all the way up and then lock out. Okay. You get a little more like shoulder flexion and extension. Okay. So then the long head of your tricep gets a little bit more meatier. Interesting. Yeah. They suck. They're really hard. Yeah. It's like a pullover, but harder. It must be fun to listen to both of us breathe. Oh my God. Here you go. Pull, pull, pull. How many got left?
That was it.
Okay. Okay, do you feel those in your hamstrings, your glutes, your back the most?
Hamstrings.
Okay.
Yeah. And I make sure, because like that's what I'm trying to focus on. So like some reps I'll feel it not in my hamstrings, I'll feel it in my low back.
Yeah.
Because like you do the whole, and you're pulling with like your
pull
upper
away
back
from
and
it.
you're hyperextending. And then I'll just kind of have to like refocus. Or a lot of times, like if I'm going down and I come back up and I like flex my hip, right? And then at that point, I just don't feel it in my hamstrings, so I just make sure my hips are extended.
Yeah. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those for the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. Like, this is, if you go on and you use it, this one specifically is a shitty model.
Oh, really?
This brand makes them, and every time I've seen other people have this brand, it's amazing. And then the one we got is like slightly off-centered. If you look at it, you'll see it's like off-centered. When I step on it, this shit's wobbly as fuck. And like the vinyl like is very loose. So like
it moves around under your leg.
Yeah. So it's super annoying. I mean, it gets the job done for like, you know, us here, but we want a new one.
Maybe we should get rid of the flag you're getting and get one that says "We want a new one." And then we could just like, if whoever gives us one, we'll put their logo on the sign.
Sick, yeah. But like, promise we have 2 followers, but we promise we're gonna work hard to get more.
Absolutely.
Do you want Diet Coke?
Always.
Okay.
I always want a Diet
one.
Coke. See, we have the same nutrition problem and the same Diet Coke issue. Hey, if you're still watching this, much appreciated. Also, put your questions in the comments. We'll answer them. We'll talk about whatever you want.
What?
I was just talking to the camera. I was saying that if someone is actually still watching this, which they will be.
Yes.
Refreshing. If you have any questions for us about things we could answer, put that in the comments, either on Instagram or YouTube, or DM one of us, and we'll compile a list. Because we try to do this as unscripted as possible. Is the whole goal of this is to just like, maybe we'll have some questions, but it's mostly stuff that we talk about anyway because we're nerds and we like exercise science. She just likes exercising as well. No, I like exercising sometimes. But we'd be down to answer any questions, long questions, short questions, and just kind of like try stuff out. If there's exercises you want to know about, we'll talk about those, or our opinions on them, or weird things like, you know, can you flex your back?
Yeah.
Can your knees go over your toes?
What?
No, if anyone asks that question, I'm fucking banning you.
Get the
I'm just
fuck
kidding,
out.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think you have just that left.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have one more set.
Yeah, and I think this is a good example if you're watching this, like, that was what you came out to do, right? These 4 things. I did 3 exercises. All right? I think, no, 4. I did 4.
Yeah.
I think.
Tricep, bicep, tricep. Lats.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I did 4 accessory exercises, and that's all I'm going to get to today.
Yeah.
And she runs a shit ton and bikes and does all the stuff and works a lot. And you probably can't take as much volume as you think if you have intent with your exercises, and you don't need it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to do 22 sets of triceps and shoulders in a day. And if you do that and your shoulders hurt, you can leave a comment and we'll happily answer why it feels so terrible for you. So and some people can get away with it if you're taking steroids and like bodybuilding and whatever. You're used to it.
Or genetics, like you have good tissue tolerance in that specific region where like maybe someone will get knee issues if they do the same amount of load, but let's say I do a certain amount of load and I get knee issues, you do the same amount of load and you don't. Genetics obviously could play a role in that. So nutrition, sleep, there's so many variables that go into it, which that's where things like every time someone's like, they have a question whether it's because they have an injury or how to progress, and like the answer is almost always it depends.
Yeah, it really does.
Right? So
and my first question for Gen Pop specifically is like, instead of going after the biological thing, like, oh, my knee's really killing me, I immediately back it up to like, have you changed anything recently? Like, oh, I did a 6-mile hike on Saturday and it's the longest I've ever done. I'm like, okay, that's great. How was it? And like, it was so much fun. But like, I had like 2 miles left and I stepped off this rock. Because they kind of come to you with this like, it just all of a sudden hurts. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. How was your hike you told me you're going on this weekend? Was that where was that at? I'm like, oh yeah, that was oh, and you're like, okay, you don't have to stop. But just know that like when we have a sharp increase of of volume of shit we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
tissue sometimes likes to kind of put up a yellow flag and be like,
Yeah.
what were you doing there?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know. Fucking around and finding out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to back it up a little bit, especially. I'm sure it's got to be the same with athletes. You're like, hey, Becky, didn't you just break up with your boyfriend? She's like, I did. And you're like, and your knee hurts? She's like, it does. And you're like, how are you sleeping? I'm not. And you're like,
Okay. All right. Makes all
maybe
sense.
we solve those problems first and then see if you wake up one day and you're like,
Yeah.
my knee feels great. And you're like,
Yeah.
all right, sick, dude. Cool.
Yep. And
But-
it sucks because no one wants like a simple answer like that. They want like some scientific, magical thing that they can fix
Yeah.
it.
Like a cortisone shot.
Yeah, right. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that relieve it acutely, the
Yep.
pain, but long term, it's going to be, it's always like a lifestyle thing, which like,
Yeah.
I always apologize beforehand. Like, I'm sorry, this is like the most boring, simple answer, but you should sleep more.
Yeah. And they're
Right.
like, but that can't be it, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, maybe, dude. Like,
Yeah.
all the time. I think my wife is similar to Marley in that, like, all the time when I'm like, I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, how are you sleeping? I'm like, well, the last 7 days I averaged 5 hours and 17 minutes. And she's like,
Okay, yeah. Like,
yeah, no
Yeah.
wonder you feel like crap. I'm like, nah, I think I just need another monster. I think
Yeah.
another monster, another coffee, and I'll be square.
and you know
Right
what?
as
I'll
rain.
take more carbs to like offset that.
Dude.
Which is like sometimes when I get like, if I don't get enough sleep or and like I feel like trash and I'm like, oh, well, I know I'm not gonna get sleep for the next few days.
Yeah.
So I'll offset that by having more food, which is like,
Sort of works.
yeah, kind of like it's not obviously not the same, but
No.
you know, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got levers and your sleep's crap and your stress is crap,
Try to bring
don't
up something else.
Yeah, don't turn your nutrition down.
Yeah.
Punch that up. It can sometimes square
Yeah.
things away a little bit, but yeah. So I hope everyone, if you've watched this, you see that like we're not perfect, and she's talking about like genetics with tissue tolerance, and like my knees give out very fast, so I have to be careful with that. And like, I am not the most adherent to training. I do train more often than most people, but you don't have to be perfect. And yeah, we're just here to train and kind of shoot the shit about whatever the hell we want, and wear our Dwayne The Rock Johnson shirts because you have to have good workout shirts or it doesn't really count as a workout.
Exactly.
It has to be that way.
And I know you mentioned something before where you're like, what advice would you give
Oh, yeah.
General Pop?
Yeah.
Mine is like, if you're limited on time, build a home gym. Like,
I mean,
it's...
yeah, that's the truth.
no,
Yeah, that's good advice. And it doesn't have to be like, Dave's got a beautiful home gym. It can be like this dumbbell rack and those kettlebells.
Yeah. But, all right, so like in all seriousness, like find things that work for you, right?
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
all right, building a home gym, obviously like financially, like people have, like I don't have kids. I don't have like crazy loans or anything. Like, so I'm able to do that. I'm able to like, and this is also like after years of just compiling things.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like I just randomly
dropped
dropped
all this at
20
once.
grand and
Yeah.
was like, let's go. But like finding things that make it possible for you to work out and adhere. So it's like an evening walk after dinner with your
Yes,
kids and your
dude.
husband or wife
Yeah.
or whoever.
Yeah, talk about stress reduction too.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, 2 sets of 20 squats and 5 push-ups in your living room before eating dinner or before going to work or whatever. Like
Yeah,
a
anything.
yoga mat so you could do some mobility stuff and maybe some like isometric holds and core stuff and whatever it is. So it's like finding things that work for you. For me, like truly, I really wanted this, so it was something that I planned for it.
Yeah.
I saved for it.
She's so clean too.
It's
so clean.
Yeah. And like so I knew it was going to be good for me considering like, sometimes I'm at school, then I have work, then I have my other work and whatever. And so I could only train at 8 p.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier when I have it here.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I think that's great advice. The last thing I'll say is walk. Just try to walk as much as you can. Just get your steps in. I know it sounds so simple and everyone wants to like, what running can I do or high intensity can I do or medium intensity can I do? Just walk.
Yeah.
Like just try to get your steps in between like 7 and 12,000 a day. And you're doing so much better than a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So.
Cool.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah. Sweet.
Well, second video technically,
Second
but
video. Yeah.
that was the first one after everything's been put together.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, and it helps you have a nice home gym.
Huh?
It helps you have a nice home gym.
I know.